Yo, Dragon Ballers, real quick before we get into the video, make sure to check out our new sponsor, Dex Protection, down in the description below. Make sure to use them for all your card gaming protection needs, whether you need sleeves, whether you need binders, whether you need deck boxes, make sure to use them. I'm going to walk you guys through real quick. You have the product drop-down menu here. Let's say I want to go grab some sleeves. It brings you to the sleeve page. And then you have our regular sleeves, because we're not Yu-Gi-Oh! We don't use mini sleeves. We use real size sleeves. So we click on that. We go to buy now. We have our option of all the different colors. I think Dex Protection sleeves are super high quality. I use them. I use their binders to keep my collection. So guys, make sure to check them out in the description. Let's get into the video. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. This time, one you guys have been waiting for a while. We have Android 21. I know I've talked about it a lot. Posted the gameplay earlier this week. Now we're talking about it. Guys, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you miss a video. If you want to help the channel out, many links in the description below. Patreon, merch store, Gemmy app, new Dex Protection sponsorship. Make sure to check that all out. That being said, let's get right on into the video. So this leader, Android 21, it's a leader I have played with for a long time. I posted a very competitive list on the Patreon back during set 8 format, when I think this leader was criminally underplayed, and I think it was very good back then. I think it's very good now. What's really good about this leader, it's one of the very few leaders that doesn't have to attack the opponent to gain advantage. Ever since the nerf of Piccolo, you know, that was pretty much the strongest leader that didn't have to attack the opponent, never have to give them cards. You can crit their life down until you're ready to kill them and passively gain advantage. This leader is probably not the best leader that does that, since Piccolo is nerfed the way he is. So once per turn, on both sides, you eat a token, you draw a card, and then at the start of your opponent's next turn, you untap an energy. On the Unawakened side, you do automatically start with 21 Scheme out in play, which is very important for the deck. And then you awaken at 4 life, draw 2. So an old school draw 2 leader, but the fact that she untaps during your opponent's turn and draws more cards, your awaken turn is pretty crazy. Ideally, you want to be able to use her unawaken effect, then hopefully be at 4 life, awaken, draw 2 cards, then use her awaken effect. That'll net you 2 extra draws and 2 untapped energy on your opponent's turn. And if your opponent's not being ultra aggressive on you with the tokens, you can pretty much make that happen when you want it to happen. But if they are playing correctly with tokens, if you're playing against a good player, they're going to probably force you to awaken with the tokens. But one thing I do want to mention is, if you want to stall your awaken for that big tempo play that I'm talking about, you can always use a sensu bean that's going to negate basically all of the token attacks, because if they want to combo into a token attack to force you to awaken, well, you pretty much won out on that exchange. But as long as they don't have too many other cards that can force you to awaken after that sensu bean, that is a very good play to keep that tempo turn alive. So moving on, we do have the field card. I talked about it. Basically, the first battle card played each turn has Summoning Sickness. It cannot attack. You can't really play black battle cards in the deck because they instantly go to the drop thanks to this card. That's okay. And then auto at the start of your opponent's main phase, they get 2 tokens. Yeah, they can attack you with them, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said, I just explained basically how to preserve your tempo turn. And once you awaken, the tokens don't really threaten you, so it doesn't really matter too much. We're playing 4 Golden Frieza Unison of Malice. This is the best unison I've come across for this leader specifically. None of the blue unisons are actually very good with 21, unfortunately. You know, Zeno is probably the best generic one when it comes to a mono blue leader, but you have the option of sometimes, you know, charging a tapped energy from the top of your deck because you are playing blue-green, and we really don't ever want that. A lot of the other blue unisons only work with Saiyan leaders. Obviously, we're not a Saiyan leader. So besides that, I wanted to explore the green unisons, and I really find that Golden Frieza Unison of Malice is the best one. Bardock doesn't really do much in the deck because we don't really play a ton of green 1-drops. We can't really afford to play a ton of green 1-drops, and the Xeno Frieza is only really good with green starter Frieza. So why is Golden Frieza so good? Well, the +1's great. We get the crit, like I said before. You don't have to attack your opponent with your leader, so having the unison with crit just to, you know, wear your opponent's life down is incredibly good, especially when you get to see new cards out of it. And the -2 is something that this deck never really had before. Yeah, it has sensu bean, but now it has a topo-like effect. -2 until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent can't attack with battle cards unless they choose one of their battle cards under cost 2 or more and place it in the owner's drop area. So if they want to attack through this topo-ish effect, they have to basically give up their board presence, which is very good for you. You know, it's not quite topo, you know, it's not pitch 2 from their hand, but it does make them think twice before they're going to attack through it. Most times when you activate this -2, you're probably going to pass their turn, especially if they don't have any battle cards sacrificed. Then you know you're pretty much skipping their turn, which is very good. Next up, we had the staples here. 4D Magic, 4 Bean. I talked about it before. Bean is super vital to keeping your tempo play alive, where you awaken and on both sides the leader gets to use the activate main. That's very important. 4 Dimension Magic, we are playing a somewhat hand control deck. I wouldn't say it's as heavy hand control as like Green Frieza, but it is nice to be able to play a hand control deck and have the resource manipulation of Dimension Magic. That feels really good. That's going to pair well with the combo I'm going to talk about in a second. And Android 18 Bionic Blitz, this is the 4-up super combo we are going with. Sure, you could play a draw 1 super combo. You can definitely play the Zamasu super combo. I think those are both valid options in 21. I don't think 21 necessarily needs the Bionic Blitz, but the reason I like Bionic Blitz is because it pairs incredibly well with Goku Gohan Sands of Earth, a card that is luckily getting reprinted in the summer in the anniversary box, so don't worry about the price tag on it now, although I think it's only around like $15 to $18, but still it should drop in price when the reprint comes out, which is very nice. So the thing with this card is it just has so much synergy in the deck. Obviously Bionic Blitz, combo that, make them ditch a card, play this, make them ditch a card, and potentially remove one of their battle cards. Yeah, you put it in their energy, but honestly that's not really going to be a big issue a lot of times. More so the removal is going to be very nice. But I want to let you guys know that playing Goku Gohan Sands of Earth just to make your opponent discard a card is not bad in the slightest, because you're generating a 25k body for 2 energy and your opponent's discarded 2 cards because of it, thanks to also Bionic Blitz. So that is very good. And like I mentioned before, Dimension Magic, the energy manipulation, that basically sets you up to play your Goku Gohan with Bionic Blitz, works out very well. We're playing 3 Android 16 energy amplification. This might seem like a weird ratio. Normally, if you are playing a heavy ramp strategy, I would definitely recommend playing 4. You want to see it every single turn 2, but we're not really playing a heavy ramp strategy. This deck actually has a ton of turn 2 plays, which I will talk about as we go through the video, but playing 3 of it, pretty good, because it is a blue-green we want to charge, and it also is nice to see it when we don't have access to our other turn 2 plays. For Android 17 Protected Wildlife, you want to see this basically every single turn after turn 1. You want to charge this like literally 4 turns in a row. That just feels really good to do that. Next up, we are playing the 1-of SS4 Vegeta, Peak of Primitive Power. He's pretty much the best SCR you can play. Like, sure, you could play maybe like Victory Strike if you happen to own the card, but again, we're not playing a super heavy ramp strategy, so I probably wouldn't recommend it. You could play Negative Energy Dragon Ball too. That is a pretty solid secret to swap in if you're looking for a more budget alternative and want to play that over SS4. But the thing is, we do want to generate a board ourselves, so Negative Energy Dragon Balls can sometimes hinder you or be kind of dead in your hand. So I just want to throw that out there. But anyways, this is the main powerhouse of the deck. 4 Goku Black Delicate Plan and 4 Twisted Justice Fuse Zamasu. This is the engine I was playing in 21, back when even Violent Predator was still a thing. I felt like the quote-unquote pure 21 engine was kind of baiting a lot of people. I didn't really feel like it was that good. I mean, Violent Predator, yeah, she got banned because now we're promoting a lot more monocolor decks in the game, but back then she had one good matchup, which was Hachiyak. You know, Violent Predator wasn't good except for one matchup, really, so I didn't really think it was worth main decking. I was considering sideboarding it back then, but this was always the main deck package. This is the main deck package I am a huge fan of in 21. Again, you don't have to interact with your opponent much with the leader, so you let them attack you, you activate battle on Goku Black, play it, hopefully pop a card, but the activate main is where you get the real value. Pay 3 to play a 7-drop. That is just super good. When you play Twisted Justice Fuse Zamasu, luckily he does not have to be unioned in order to get his auto. When you play him, you can either pop 2 of your opponent's battle cards or rip 2 cards out of their hand. Both incredibly good effects. I find myself using the hand rip effect the majority of the time, but a lot of times against yellow where they're spamming Raiders war cries, Fuse Zamasu to pop their Raiders is just absolutely free value. It's so good, man. It's really strong. I'm a huge fan of this as the main engine in 21 for sure. Now, rounding out the rest of the green lineup, we have 4 Frieza Charismatic Villain. Luckily, these cards are not tied to like a specific leader color, like, I kind of thought they would be, but the fact that you can play this, as long as you play the correct color unison, you can play a card like Frieza Charismatic Villain. It would be nice to have SS Trunks God Stealing Technique. That card is super duper broken, snapped in half, but unfortunately, like I said, no good blue unisons to play with 21, so we are playing Frieza Charismatic Villain. Popping up to 7 or less, still very solid, especially in the Gotenks matchup. Pop their 7-drop fusion, they are in big trouble. Android 21, a brilliant idea, a great card. It's a card that I always want to play 4 of, but I just have to make concessions, have to make space in other places for this deck. This is a 53 card list, by the way. Really 52, because you're starting with your field card in play. So with that in mind, 321, you want to be giving your Zamasu crit as often as you possibly can. A 35k crit double strike Zamasu It's really tough for your opponent to deal with no matter who they are. Vegeta the Cruel, 3 of one of the best counter plays in the game, really. I mean, the fact that it just gives you extra value. First, pops a card. Second, deals with their hand. Incredibly strong. And rounding out the deck list, guys, we have 4 Vegeta Energy Absorber. Again, another card that not a lot of 21 players were playing, but the fact that your leader untaps energy for you on your opponent's turn, this card is perfect for the deck. You get a ton of draw value. So between this, the Goku Black, and the Energy Amplification, those are all of our turn 2 plays, but they're all good plays at any stage of the game, which is incredibly important. The fact that your deck doesn't have to follow a super specific curve, the fact that those plays are good at any time, makes the deck very good. And then 3 Scholarly Gambit, we want to play that free blocker so that we can get around our own summoning sickness some of the time. That works out very well. But guys, that's the deck list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know you've been waiting for a long time. Definitely drop comments down below what you want to know about the deck, what you want to ask me. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.